Hi, I usually miss a lot of what I try to get across when I type in comment sections, so here's a add-on video to the comment section. I have this 2010 Mac Pro, which I've been very successfully importing DV footage, or mini DV footage from many DV camcorders, and even other types of camcorders, like there's a Hi 8/digital 8 camcorder back there that also has a FireWire port on it. I could do the same thing with that I could do with the DV camcorders, which there's one right there as a mini DV. This 4K camcorder is having a problem where it's not zooming properly, but anyway, this 2010 Mac Pro has 4 drive bays. One of them has an SSD. The other 4 have the other 3, which 2 of which they have 2 terabyte drives in each of them, and they're in an Apple RAID right now, and the other one was the drive that came in this machine when I got it off of Facebook Marketplace, which was just an original Apple hard drive, 7200 RPM, which is still pretty good for a hard drive anyway. It has a lot of USB ports, headphone out, although this is pretty noisy if you use great headphones with it. Has a lot of FireWire ports. It might actually have more FireWire ports than it has USB 2.0 ports, which is kind of insane to think about. But these are FireWire 800. There's cables you could get all over the place. Which I have some in a basket back there that will adapt to a FireWire 400 port that were used in, like, let's see if I can actually find one in this iMac. Let's see if I can see one. That is a FireWire 400 port, and that's a FireWire 800 port. 400 ones are less square. The 800 ones are always square like this. And the smaller types that you see on, well, I've only seen them on camcorders, but that's what you plug into with the other end. But anyway, if you get an adapter for this, you can just plug your camcorder straight into this, and it will import just fine into iMovie, like iMovie that you could get in the macOS App Store, so decently recent, or Final Cut Pro, which I just have a cracked version I got off of a random website, and it was from about 4 or 5 years ago, the version anyway, and it works with the camcorders I have just fine. Of course, I do in this machine, so I have a lot of storage internally in this machine. I don't have to import it into the 112 terabyte RAID I have, because that's just annoying. Plus, I would have to pay for another computer slot for the stupid soft RAID. But anyway, I also have this because it came with a Blu-ray drive. Although if it didn't, I would have been fine with it. And this is for ripping CDs and crap, which these are not imported yet, and these are. I'm flaky. But anyways, this also has some ports on the back, of course, like every computer does. That's a lot of FireWire ports in there, and there are some more USB ports. This thing, if you turn all the fans up, screams like hell, like a demon ready to blow up your house. But anyway, this GPU is kind of AIDS, but it's about the best that you'll get in this kind of a system. And I have no idea why. I had my old GTX 1070 from NVIDIA in this computer, but it was actually slower while running than this one. And this is a 12-year-old graphics card, so that's kind of insane. And so I knew there was something wrong, but pretty sure it's just a problem with the drivers from NVIDIA, because they don't really exist anymore, and the only ones that do are from a few years ago, and apparently they're so bad that you might as well not even try to use them. So this works well enough anyway for what I try to do on this machine. It has 12 cores, it has 2 processors with each have 6 cores. Of course they're Xeons, so make of that what you will. I tried to install Windows 10, but I was mildly unsuccessful, mainly because there's no way that I can get whatever it's called, Boot Camp Assistant to work with a Windows 10 ISO, or even a USB stick. I mean, it took me forever to get it working with these. and it won't make a Windows 10 USB bootable install disk, so I can't install Windows 10. I know it can be done because I've heard people do it, and I heard it's a very normal thing to do, but I can't do it. I tried to install Windows 7, and then I tried to install the Boot Camp drivers onto that Windows 7 partition, and it just corrupted the Windows 7 partition. So that's great. But I wouldn't ever try to use DV stuff with Windows anyway. I feel like that should be illegal, actually, because, well, I don't really know why. It just feels really wrong. Anyway, that concludes my video on this 2010 Mac Pro, but pretty much any Mac should do the trick. I've done the same thing on this iMac, which is the 2007 iMac. This is actually what I used to import my first DV footage for archiving purposes, and I just transferred it over the network to my NAS. But that was a little bit slow, and I couldn't do it all at once, so I started using the Mac Pro for that, which I got afterwards. But this is not a fast machine, but it still worked really well for how much wrong I thought there would go. Whatever I just said. Anyway, so yeah, 2010 Mac Pro, about the best machine there is for what I was just explaining. There you go.